Hello there, and welcome to the Tammy Tuckey Show. My name is Tammy Tuckey, and it's good to see you. So tonight we've moved our interview a little bit earlier in the week, but thank you guys all for joining in. I would really like to welcome our special guest, our former president of Walt Disney Imagineering and author, Bob Weis, to the show. Welcome, Bob.
Hi.
How are things today? How are you feeling?
I feel great, and it's so nice to see you, Tammy. And I want to start by just thanking you for all the wonderful things you do for creative people and Disney fans. And I'm so glad to be on your show.
Oh, thank you. You're so sweet. I just, for me, it's like one creative to another. I just love to know how things are done. That's been my passion since I've been a kid. Like, I would see you and some Imagineers on, the old Disney Channel behind the scenes, or
Yeah.
those VHS tapes. And that was something that was amazing, because not only did we get to experience the ride, but we understood how you made it. You know what I mean?
Well, and you're also the people that most want to know all about that and want to know, how are these things done? And to Imagineers, I can say they're done with a great deal of care and concern for the audience and a great deal of sense of responsibility for the stewardship of what we do. So when people notice, it's really nice. It's really great when people notice. So very, very happy to have a chance to talk to you.
And I really wanted to delve into how you got to work for Disney, because from what I gather, you had started back in 1980. What were you specifically hired for? Was it artistic work or story work? What was
Well,
the beginning?
I had graduated, Tammy, with a degree in architecture, although about half my studies had been in the theater department. So I had I ended up with kind of a unique combination of both theater, which is very, as you know, because you're involved in theater, storytelling and immersive design and creative collaboration and all that. So much of which you get from theater, and architecture, which involves that, but also a whole lot of rigorous design training and programming. And when you think about theme parks, they really are a combination of the two. They're great storytelling, but you could have 50 or 60,000 people in a park at one time, and you have a lot of things you have to do to accommodate that many people. So I had a good understanding of both. And my first job, I got hired in to work on a project which was kind of top secret and quiet at the same time at the time, and it turned out to be one of the great projects of Disney, which is Tokyo Disneyland. And I was there to build the first park, and I wasn't in a creative role, because I was just like out of college, and they sort of pointed us and said, go do that. But because many of my colleagues and I were what I think of as the second generation of Imagineers. So the first generation are Mark Davis and Exitencio and a lot of the folks your audience knows, who were recruited by Walt himself, who moved over from animation. We were kind of the second generation to come in. So we worked for them, and they mentored us. And so it was a chance to learn a whole lot, and also to live in 1980 in Japan, which was not very westernized and was kind of a whole new world for most Americans at that time. So it was a great, great opportunity to get into what it's like to be at Imagineering.
How long were you over there, though?
I was over there for a couple of years, but then I worked on Tokyo Disneyland for many years. I worked on the master planning of it. We worked on the expansion, which was very rapid because it was so successful. And then ultimately, I got a chance to develop the Tokyo Disney Seas Park also. So I was just very lucky to have a very long relationship with Japan, and I still have friends there, and I still love it there. It's like a second home to me.
That's amazing. That's one of my bucket list things. I want to go and see it, see the park myself.
All right, let me know when you get over there. We'll have a conversation about it.
Yes, what's the must do at this point that's still there in the parks that I should absolutely go? Maybe first thing I should do if I ever go.
Well, Tokyo Disneyland itself, the Disneyland project is just, it's just unique. It's just the audience over there just is so unique, and they're, as you know, they're big Duffy fans, and they dress up. They're big cosplay
Yes.
fans. But then also, Tokyo Disney Seas is completely new and different, and has great unique attractions in it. We just finished actually a big new expansion. Well, Imagineering just finished a big expansion during COVID, of where we brought Soarin' around the world there. But everything that comes to Tokyo gets a kind of a twist, a unique look at it. The entertainment is great. Just everything about it is really unique and fun. So I think for Disney fans, if you can, it's so wonderful to visit all the parks.
Yeah.
And Tokyo is definitely one that you should visit because it's really unique.
I do see some pictures, but I try to like resist watching anything about the rides because I really do want to be surprised. It's been a long
Just
time.
go there. Yeah, just go there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to, I hope you don't mind, but we were talking a little bit offline about Studio 89. You had done a panel for another convention earlier this year to celebrate, I think it was 35 years of
It was
MGM.
35 years of Disney MGM. What we first called Disney MGM, now called Disney's Hollywood Studios. Yeah.
So my family, even when we get to the bus, we're like, where's the MGM bus? Like we can't help it. It's going to be MGM forever for us. But the beginning of the creating of that park, I feel like it's just such a unique time that you guys got to do it, because not only 1989, when you're putting this together, you still have some big Hollywood golden era individuals who were still alive, right? And they were helping you guys out with this type of project and coming. So tell me, what did that feel like? Because it must have been magical. When I watch everything, it's like, what a perfect moment, for Imagineering,
Yeah, it was a new kind of project. And if you remember back, or for those that can remember back that far, the Disney Studios live action library had not been very energetic for quite a long time, not compared to what it is today. And so there just weren't that many live action films that hadn't already been leveraged a lot, like Mary Poppins and other things have been used a lot. So we had a chance to work with the MGM library, and you know what that's filled with. It's just filled with incredible films and stars, and everybody wanted to help. It's really interesting. Carol Burnett was so excited to come down and be as part of the studio premiere. Tom Selleck, anyone we asked to do a piece of video about the history of the project or anything like that, they were all really wonderful about it. Clint Eastwood and just so many folks who saw it as and most people I think see the parks this way, as it's a way to reach the audience in a more intimate way. They can go see a movie, but maybe they'll go see that movie once. Maybe if they really love that movie, they'll see it twice. But to be there, to interact, I remember all the time we spent. Of course, John Wayne had already passed, but we spent time with his son on the Great Movie Ride. It was just fun to have people want the project to be great, want it to be authentic. And so you couldn't ask for a better time. It was just, I just think of people, you got me thinking now, Glenn Randall, who was the second unit director on Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. He came in and directed the Indiana Jones stunt show for us. Just it was amazing to have that interaction, and those people want to be a part of a project which without them it would not have been the success that it was.
And you guys went all out. You had like these big opening TV specials. I know John Ritter hosted one, and Dick Van Dyke was in on it. And what an amazing opening for that.
It was a great opening, and I you're aware. I think that I feel like the luckiest person on earth because I got 2 books coming out. I just had a book called Dream Chasing come out from Disney, and I have another book coming out we're going to talk about. opening nights of parks are very stressful for the Imagineers because you've been working on this thing for a long time and you're hoping it's all going to go well and your fingers are crossed and all that stuff. And the opening night of the studio tour was raining. And it wasn't just like a little bit. It was pouring, and they had asked everybody to come like they were coming to a movie premiere. So women were in gowns and men were in tuxedos, and they were soaking wet, and the food was soaking wet. And even with all of that, people just seemed to be having an incredible time. And they just had they were just so happy to be a part of this new thing from Disney. It was different than the other parks. And I always remember just like, I can't believe people are having such a great time and it's just like pouring rain outside.
Yeah. What's not to have fun with? The rain is just a secondary thing,
That's right. And in Florida, it rains, right? So
yeah. So I have 3 little fan questions just about studios. So my first one was going to be, if you could choose any restaurant to eat at studios at, what would it be and what's your go-to dish?
It would be the Primetime Cafe. Just because it was a crazy, at the time, it doesn't seem like it now, but at the time it was a pretty crazy idea to have these moms there that served you and make it feel like you were in your kitchen during a television situation comedy. It symbolizes to me the fact that when we embarked on the studio tour, we decided we wanted a different relationship with the cast. We wanted them to also be performers, and you as a performer would appreciate that. And it's really, in many ways, the studio tour is a kind of a precursor to Galaxy's Edge and things like that, where we've tried to use cast more as performers, but people really got into it. And there are some of the folks in the Primetime Cafe who have been there since opening. There are people in the Indiana Jones show who've been there since opening. I think the cast really appreciated being highlighted. So I just love sitting down there. Probably my special menu is anything that involves macaroni and cheese and something that's bad for me that just feels like it came right out of that era. But I love that place. I love the Sci-Fi Dine-In. We did that. I grew up going to old drive-in movies and seeing those crazy science fiction movies. And the fact that the cast is there and, some of them are on roller skates. It's just so much fun. The studio has a really fun technique. I love to go to the Brown Derby. The Brown Derby is really a very accurate recreation of the one that was in Hollywood that's not there anymore. So, I think we really emphasized unique dining experiences there.
Big time.
And they're still there. And they're still there and doing really well.
And then my second one was going to be for Superstar Television.
Yes.
Which TV show would you have liked to be a guest appearance in?
Oh, that's a good question. I'd probably be Gilligan or something like that.
Yes. I love that was an addition to that. That would have been that
was a
really
fun show
funny.
to do too. That was a fun show to do too. And again, back then you have to remember Disney did not own ABC, did not own a lot. There was no such thing as Disney Plus, and so it was a huge effort to try to figure out how you're going to make a tribute to television, which is so important to American history, American cultural history, and to reach out to everybody from David Letterman to as you said, Gilligan's Island to Cheers to a broad range of television icons, and at the same time let guests participate in them. It was a tall order, but we're glad we did it, and it was fun. It was. I can't say it was easy, but it was fun.
I just wish it had still been there. I had heard on the panels that you were on in May that they were thinking, because ABC was now Disney, they were thinking of converting that before it became Doug Live, and putting more ABC
That's
shows.
gone through a lot of evolution. It's gone through a lot of evolutions, but
yeah,
for me as the as a designer of a park like that, we kind of anticipate evolutions. So,
Yeah.
you even
You have
Walt
to.
Disney himself, in the first 10 years of Disneyland before he passed, he changed it a lot. So you always, we want to be stewards of the importance of, these things are important to people. They want to go back and they want to see the things that they remember, but they also expect us to be on our game, right? So you want to have stewardship. At the same time, you always want to be looking for new things. So it's always
Absolutely.
about that.
Change is sometimes a good thing. I know a
Sometimes
lot of
good.
people were very hurt. This is my third question is going to be about the Great Movie Ride. I know many people were very hurt that
Right.
disappeared. Although my family, we love the new Mickey's Runaway Railway. We were like thrilled. We were like, this is actually really fun. So we really enjoy that, right? But the Great Movie Ride. So I know rights were always an issue in putting certain films in, but if you had no issue with putting any film you wanted in it and what specific scene with no rights issue, what would you have loved to have added to the Great Movie Ride?
Added to the Great Movie Ride. Oh boy, now you're getting tough. I thought you were going to say, did I think that the Great Movie Ride should still be there? And I love the Great Movie Ride, and most of all, I love the cast. When we first said, okay, you cast members are going to drive this vehicle, and you're going to be a gangster, and you're going to be, all these things, and it was a shocking thing for the time.
Oh, big time, yeah.
And I think it was a moment. It was great, and there was a big wall in the building where all any cast member who had served there and then moved on, they autographed a wall, and I have a picture of this amazing wall of all these autographs. And many people saw their careers start there. But I'm going to answer the question you didn't ask me, which is, I think it was time. I think it was time for the Great Movie Ride. But it wouldn't have been time if we didn't have Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroad. You have to have the right thing to replace it. And right at the center of the park, it was able to preserve the Chinese theater, the marquee, all those things. So I think it was a great move. And it was a move at the time the studio was taking a big jump up with Galaxy's Edge and all those things. So I always feel good about things that come in that replace things that are also great, right? So I feel good about that. All my movies are. I'm so connected.
It could be obscure. It doesn't matter.
No,
I was going
that's
to
the
say
thing.
Lord of the Rings.
That's the thing I was going to tell you. That's the thing I was going to tell you is that I'm kind of like a Turner Classic Movies guy. So, all the movies I can think of are the Maltese Falcon and stuff, which wouldn't make a good ride. I had to do a lot of thinking. About the Great Movie Ride, but it had some of my favorite movies in it. Alien, I thought was a landmark. Casablanca, a landmark. One of my favorite movies of all time, The Wizard of Oz, is there. I was so happy
perfect
there.
Ending. Perfect ending.
It would have been nice. It would have been nice if we could have had Gone with the Wind there. But the MGM agreement was made kind of late, and we didn't really have the opportunity. So I'd say maybe Gone with the Wind would have been great to have there. And it didn't make sense to have Star Wars there because we knew we were doing Star Tours. So
correct, yeah.
So it's all a negotiation.
Well, you scared me with Alien. I always hid. I went like this every
good.
time I went through it. I did
that's
not,
good.
and I love the movie, but I do not want to go to space. That was the closest you're going to get.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. But we wanted
So-
to find a balance of kind of classic and new. At that time, Alien was relatively new. We wanted to find a kind of a combination there. We didn't want it to all be Disney. We thought it should be a range of Hollywood. So we were very lucky, I think, the way we were able to put it together.
It was brilliant. We will miss it. But it was amazing for what it was. You know, we all dream about going into the movies, and you guys actually
That's
made the
great.
ride happen.
That's
Which
great.
is
That's great.
fantastic. So when we're talking about immersion, I think some of the most notable Disney attractions are Pirates of the Caribbean, It's a
Yep.
Small World, and the Haunted Mansion. And this is
Yep.
spooky season. And now we're going to get down to brass taxes here. We've got a book called Ghost Dog
Ghost
that you
Dog.
have
There it is.
written.
You got a
Here
copy of it right there.
So obviously you could see the scripture is kind of like very similar to what the Haunted Mansion
Did you
has.
put it in the
With
sun and try letting it glow in the dark? It glows in the dark. Did you know that?
No, it
Yeah.
does.
Put the book in the sun a little bit in a window or something, and then
Okay.
you'll see that it actually the ghost dog glows in the dark too.
That is so cool. Okay, this is awesome. I'm gonna be doing this right afterwards. But yeah, I think it's so fun that you put this book together. Why don't you tell us just like a little summary of what the book is about?
Well, I'm going to start by telling the audience that I love the Haunted Mansion. I absolutely love the Haunted Mansion, and I grew up in California, so you know when the Haunted Mansion opened. I was there that, probably the second summer. And I think, and I got to work with a lot of the people that worked on the Haunted Mansion. And I still see it as one of the most perfect attractions. It's brilliant. And once in a while I would think to myself, gosh, I'll never be able to work on anything as good as the Haunted Mansion, and then I thought, well, you could celebrate it. You could write a book about it. You could write a story about it from your own imagination. So that's where this came from. It came from a combination of two things: love of Disneyland, three things: love of Disneyland, love of the Haunted Mansion, and I have an intense, lifelong love of dogs. I've had about 5 dogs in my life, and so I thought about that scene where you go through the end, and it says, "And a ghost will follow you home." And I said, what if a kid was sitting there and a ghost dog followed them home? And how would the family's life be changed if a ghost dog followed them home? And so I tried to write a book for people who love the attraction and love dogs. And it mostly takes place outside of Disneyland. It mostly takes place at their house. And, imagine what it would be like if you were home and you had a dog who was a ghost, and then you had other ghosts from the Haunted Mansion come and stay with you, jump in your pool and cook in your kitchen. And so it just became something I loved. The idea of, it was during COVID, where I felt very frustrated by the number of Zoom calls we had and all that stuff, and I wanted a kind of a creative outlet. And yeah. So I just had just a wonderful time developing and writing it. And I'll leave the story for everybody to read, but it's fun. I hope it combines that love of Haunted Mansion and of dogs too.
And you have these beautiful illustrations by George.
Illustrations by George Scribner, who I've known for many years.
Preview.
He went to Shanghai with me. He painted on the construction site. He directed out Oliver and Company, and he is just a wonderful collaborator. And so he and I sat down, and it's not really a children's book. I wouldn't suggest to your readers or to your listeners that it's a children's book. It's more of a young adult's book. But I said, well, why don't we do some illustrations throughout? And he tapped in right away, and we actually went out. We got some dogs. We photographed the dogs. We tried to capture, what do dogs do? What's their behavior? As he had done with Oliver and Company. And we had a great time playing with the combination. It was great. And he's a wonderful collaborator too.
How long did you think it took you to kind of structure the story and then fully write it?
I would say that the book took us a little more of a year to do, all in. And then probably almost another 7 months or a year for the publisher to do. But now it's coming out. It's coming out next week on the 16th of October.
Yes,
we're having
getting it for our Halloween season, right? We're all in Halloween mode.
And we're doing an amazing event, which I wanted to do. I was hoping we could do, and we're going to do it. Here in Los Angeles, we have the Los Angeles Arboretum, which is a big park, yeah, a very well-known park in Los Angeles. And we have the Pasadena Humane Society, which, as you know, humane societies in whatever town you're watching from take care of animals. They find new homes for animals. So we're going to do a big benefit, and it's called Barks and Booze, and it's on the 29th. Not booze, booze meaning scary booze.
I knew what you meant. Yeah.
And
I just thought it was funny.
and they expect quite a few thousand people and 1,000 or more dogs to come, because I wanted to do a premiere of the book that was with dogs. So we're going to be out there meeting people. Dogs are going to be in costume. There's going to be a dog ghost costume competition. It's going to be awesome. So we'll hopefully we'll get a lot of great social media out of it.
Oh,
But
I want to see all those pictures.
It's a fun way to celebrate, and people are so passionate. People are passionate about all pets. Doesn't matter what you have as a pet. But, I think I clearly was reaching out to dog owners like myself to try to make the book a loving tribute to them about how much, not really, it's in the end, it's not about the Haunted Mansion. It's about the things that we care about, the things that we love in our life. And sometimes we have to say goodbye to them, right? It's a touching thing. And so I'm hoping the book will touch a nerve there.
And it's one of those things where I wish it had come out when I was a kid, because I loved the Haunted Mansion, even though it scared me. And when I heard about the book, I immediately thought, prior to the new Memento Mori shop that they had like a little. Do you remember at Walt Disney World they used to have like what's it called? It's just like a little setup that they were selling books and stuff, but they used to sell the dog leash, and it was a ghost dog.
That you held around, yeah.
And I just remember they used to sell them all the time, and I always wanted one, never got one, but I'm like, immediately thought of that.
I'm hoping we can bring those back. We can bring those back, right? Because people will,
I would love to. Yes. Even for Halloween, if you're just walking around,
there's Halloween. There's also, there's an incredible woman. Her name is Tanya McKnight Norris, and she worked for Walt Disney. She was one of the earliest Imagineers and one of the earliest female Imagineers. She's an incredible designer. She's still around. I think she'll get mad at me if I say her age, but I'm going to say she's up there because she worked with Walt, right? I can't even say. But she is the one who is responsible for designing the wallpaper in the Haunted Mansion. That incredible purple wallpaper, and she's still around, and she has become a friend of mine recently. In the last couple of years, we've seen each other at Club 33 and that kind of thing. But we did this wallpaper inside the book, in the book, but instead of the Haunted Mansion creatures, I don't know if you can see it, they're all dogs.
It's the cutest thing ever.
So we had fun, we this is like the main marquee of the Haunted Mansion, but made into Ghost Dog. We have done a lot with just like footprints and things like that. We definitely have had fun with it. And I took the book in the very early stages to Kevin Feige, who's the president of Marvel Studios. And some of your folks may know that Kevin, and he's on the back cover.
Dropping names here, Bob. Dropping names.
Well, I'm getting ready. Take a look at the back cover. But Kevin is a huge park fan. He loves the parks. And in fact, he told me once that it was his parents took him to see Disney MGM Studios, where he said, I want to be a filmmaker. So I always take credit for Kevin Feige in the Marvel universe. But
I love that.
But Kevin said it's great, the idea of writing books and stories that begin in the parks, but then go on, to a life of their own. So he wrote a wonderful piece for the back of the book, and the other piece
Yes.
was written by Leslie Iwerks, whose father and grandfather both worked on the Haunted Mansion. So it's a fun book. I hope people will love it, and I hope people will be moved by it. Have fun with it, but also I hope be moved by it.
And where can you get a copy? Where can we find a copy?
Ghost Dog is market wide on the 16th, and yet right now, and so that means it'll be in wherever you go. If you go to Barnes and Noble or your whatever major bookstore you go to, they'll have it. But you can pre-order it on Amazon. So if you go to Bob Weis, Weis 1S, on Amazon, that's my site, and you will find both Dream Chasing and Ghost Dog on that site. You can pre-order the books there, and they'll have it to you in time, well before Halloween. And then the publisher of Ghost Dog is a company called Old Mill Press. You can imagine Old Mill is inspired by the Old Mill of Disney lore. And it's Dave Bossert and his wife who started this incredible publishing company. And you can go to Old Mill too. But it's very readily available on pre-order for Amazon. And so
I think I have the link in the show notes too.
And you'll
just
probably
in case
have the
people wanna
link. You
go,
probably have the link too. But it's
which is good.
it's
I
fun.
hope this would be really cool. And you mentioned it's really great for books to start in the parks or kind of include the parks when you're reading them. I always wished, because they used to do that Walt Disney World Inside Out Disney Channel show where they kind of
Yeah.
showed you and showcased things. I
Right.
always wish they did something like, a TV series where the kids are in the park or something like this. Like, I feel like this would be a really great, idea for our kids show. I don't know.
Hey,
I just,
well, I think George and Dave and I are all hoping it will become a Disney Plus movie. So from your idea on,
that
but
would be great.
I think we're already developing a second version of Ghost Dog
Mhm.
that takes place out of another story. I'll let you use your imagination of what it is from the parks.
Carousel Progress. Just kidding.
And so well, there's a dog that lays on the stage at Carousel of Progress the whole time, but
Yep.
we're having fun. And there's already a second version of Dream Chasing coming on too. So I'm just writing.
Great.
I'm just happy to be. I'm so happy at this stage in my life to just be able to be a full-time author, and I love Disney fans and I love Disney storytelling, and so that's what I'm going to be doing for the next as long as I can.
You have many wonderful stories, and obviously we haven't gotten to all of them. One of your friends, Paul Osterhout, did send me a question to ask you to end our interview. So here it is. He says, "Hey, Bob, out of all the projects you've led, which one do you find to be the most proud of?"
Well, first of all, I'm so gratified that Paul sent that. Paul is an amazing talent. He really is an amazing talent, and he's done so many great things at Disney, outside Disney. He's really something. It's like asking me, like, of course, I loved being involved with my team, with the project for Disney MGM Studios. But then, I was deeply involved in the reinvention of Disney California Adventure with Cars Land and Buena Vista Street and things like that. I was involved, in Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Seas. I was, 7 years in Shanghai for Shanghai Disneyland. It's like if I asked you, like, which kid do you like the most, right? It's very hard. They all have a different part of your life, and they all occur at different times in your life. So it's hard to be favorite about anything. The ones that I think the attractions that I find the most favorite are the ones that are the most hard, the ones that are really tough to do. Great Movie Ride was hard to do. Superstar Television, Twilight Zone, Tower of Terror, Pirates for Shanghai, Tron, the things where and this is what I write in my other book, Dream Chasing, is we like to say that, follow your dreams. I don't believe you follow your dreams. When any of your viewers wake up tomorrow and they have an idea about something, you don't follow it. You got to like chase it. You got to like try to make it happen, no matter what it is, a restaurant or an idea, a book, whatever they have. And in some cases, in the case of a major theme park or something like that, you have to bring a whole lot of people with you. You got to get them to want to chase it too. So I just think it's great to be in a creative business where we have the opportunity to do so many great things, and you just treasure every moment of it, especially later. Sometimes when you're in the middle of it, it doesn't seem that much fun. It's always a lot of fun, like a year later. Then
you're like, throwback, it was actually good time.
It was actually okay. It was okay. At the moment, it might not have been as much fun.
Yeah. Good memories all around, which is wonderful. And I'm so grateful. Thank you very much for coming on the show. This has been such a pleasure to finally get to chat with you after seeing you on my television set so many times as a kid. So again, Ghost Dog, the link is in the show notes below. Actually, let's do a Kodak moment. I do it with all my guests. We just look at the camera and we smile. So on the count of 3, 1,
Tammy,
2,
thank you so much.
3. Perfect. And if anybody, thank you for joining us, and everybody who's been watching. We've had a couple people tune in. If you like this conversation, join in the fun. Bob's online. I've put his social media links below too, so you could find out more about what he's up to. You could follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. My website's tammytuckey.com. And I think that's a wrap here. So thanks again, Bob. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. See you real soon. And remember, hurry back. Hurry back.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good Halloween. Bye, Bob.
Bye.